everybody. We're going to get started. This is an information presentation on Sherborn's aggregation program. We call it Sherborn PowerChoice. And my name is Andrew Lauterbach, and I am a member of Sherborn's Energy and Sustainability Committee. And with me tonight are Frank Hauk, Tom Trainer, and Fred Cunningham, who's roving around on remote Zoom, like some of you. But also joining us are Marlena Patton and Paul Gromer, and they are the town's consultants who provide us with guidance on working through the regulatory process to get our application written and submitted to the state agencies. They also work with the electrical suppliers on getting bids for us to act on. And lastly, they provide ongoing customer service to all of the electrical consumers in Sherborn who are going to be members of Sherborn PowerChoice. Now, Sherborn voted at its annual town meeting in August 2020 to authorize the select board to investigate, and if the select board felt that it was in the town's best interest, pursue electrical aggregation for our town. They voted in favor of doing that, and then in August 2021, Sherborn actually submitted its complete application to the state regulatory agencies. At least we thought it was complete at the time, but we had to provide some amendments thereafter. Then it was December 2023 when the state finally authorized the Sherborn application to launch our program. And that's what we're doing here tonight, or this period. Now, there are two interrelated objectives for a town aggregation program. One is to provide more renewable energy as opposed to the energy coming from Eversource. The second one is to provide choice. It's in our name. And the choice that we're offering are 3 levels of renewable energy and commensurate price. There is the basic level. Then there is a medium level that Marlene is going to talk about more. And then the highest level is 100% renewable. That's all I want to say. And I'm going to turn it over to Marlena, who will take us further with more details. Thank you, Marlena.
Thank you for the great intro, Andy. So yes, my name's Marlena. I'm here with Paul, and we are from Mass PowerChoice. And as Andy said, we're the consultants hired by the town to help implement and then support this Sherborn PowerChoice program on an ongoing basis. So that means that we're not just here at the beginning, we're actually around for the long term, including providing customer support. So when you call customer support, it's us that you're calling. So just know that. So I'm going to go through a presentation. It's going to be about 20 minutes or so, and hopefully it will make this rather complicated program make a little more sense. And then at the end, there'll be time for questions and answers. So we'll start here on this cover slide, which says an intro to Sherborn PowerChoice, an electricity program from the town for residents and businesses. And I always like to start here to clarify that this is a municipal program. It is not my company's program. It's not something we brought to the town. It's not a program from an electricity company. It's actually municipal in nature, regulated by the state, and it's a service provided by the town to the community. And it's available for both residents and businesses to participate in. And if you don't live in Sherborn, you can't participate in it. So it's a very special program in that way. So what kind of program is it? So the type of program is called an electricity aggregation program. And if that leaves you as confused as this dog, the way to think about it is a group electricity buying program. And that's really what it is. It's also a transparent municipal alternative to the private electricity market, private electricity offers in the marketplace. Those are the ones that we're getting in the mail all the time, over the phone, sometimes people coming to your door. So it's a transparent, regulated municipal alternative to that. So what's in it for you at a high level? One is new choices, as you already heard. So through the program, you're going to get new choices. You have 3 new choices for the supply part of your Eversource electric bill. 3 choices that you don't have now, with different prices and different amounts of renewable energy in them. The second big benefit from the program is electricity price stability. So you're going to get 2 years of stable prices. Now, if you cast your mind back to not too long ago, you'll remember when electricity prices rose very high in the winter at the start of the Ukraine war. That's because when you don't have a program like this in place and you have Eversource's price for the supply part of your bill, that price changes every 6 months. And it changes with the seasons, and it can go really high if the electricity market goes really high. With Sherborn PowerChoice, you're not going to have those seasonal price fluctuations. Sherborn has locked in a long-term 24-month price that will not change every 6 months. So even if the market swings high in that 24-month period, Sherborn's prices won't. With that, you are going to get prices that are also lower than Eversource's current basic service price, which is a really nice benefit. So all 3 of the options in Sherborn's program, and we're going to look at those prices in a minute, they're all cheaper than Eversource right now. I do have to offer the caveat that Eversource's prices change all the time, like I said, and we don't know what their future prices are going to be. So we can't say for sure that the Sherborn prices are going to be cheaper than Eversource for the full 24-month period, but we feel pretty good about the opportunity for that to happen, because generally in programs like this, people do save a little bit of money on average. It's normal for that Eversource price to bounce up and down, and the goal would be to save a little bit when you compare the Sherborn price with the average of Eversource's price over those 2 years. We just can't guarantee it, but we feel pretty good about it, and it's definitely cheaper right now. And then the third big benefit is you're going to get more of your electricity from renewable sources like the sun and the wind. That's a big benefit. And there's actually 2 of the 3 options in the program where you're able to buy more of your electricity from renewable sources than you're getting from Eversource. So one thing I like to get out up front is that this program is not a replacement for Eversource, for your utility. In fact, we can't replace Eversource as your utility in Sherborn. You're stuck with them. They own the poles and the wires. And if you live here, you're going to have them delivering your electricity all the time, and they're going to be handling your billing, and that's just the way it is. But what we can change, and what Sherborn PowerChoice changes, is your electricity supplier. And that's the company that's putting electricity on the grid for you. And there are actually 3 ways that you can choose your 3 ways to buy electricity in Massachusetts. So to clarify that a little further, the first is if Eversource delivers it for you, as I just said, and also buys it for you or supplies it. So when they are your electricity supplier, that's called basic service. And their basic service price, when you have that for the supply part of your bill, that's the price that changes every 6 months. That's the price that went up really high the other year. So that's kind of the default. That's what we get when we first open our electricity account. It's always there for us to go back to, and that's the kind of the starting point. Most customers, electricity customers in Sherborn, have Eversource's basic service. The second option is if you sign a private contract with one of those companies I mentioned earlier. So you take up one of the offers you got in the mail, or you get a call on the phone and you agree to a price from that company. In that case, Eversource is still your electric utility. That doesn't change. They're still sending your bill. That doesn't change. But when they calculate the supply charge piece of your bill, they're going to use the price that you got from that private company instead of their basic service price. But they're still your utility. The third option is if the town signs a contract with one of those electricity suppliers instead of you personally signing the contract. But you get to benefit from the contract. In that case, Eversource is still your utility. They're still delivering your electricity. They're still sending the bill, same as always. But when they calculate that bill and they calculate the supply charge on the bill, they use a Sherborn PowerChoice price instead of their basic service price. So that is what aggregation is. That's what Sherborn PowerChoice is. So that's what this program is about. So this is a picture of what I was just describing. This is Eversource's basic service. So before the program begins, if you have not signed a contract with an electricity supplier yourself, this is what you have. You have Eversource on the left, both supplying and delivering your electricity. So providing you with two services. And then on the right, you're over there receiving electricity. And as I said, this is the default. This is kind of what we all start with when we open our account. But with Sherborn PowerChoice in place, you'll see it's really the same picture. And in fact, the right 2/3 of it are exactly the same. Eversource is still delivering your electricity. Sorry, we'll go back. Eversource is still delivering your electricity, and you're still receiving it. And that relationship between Eversource and you is uninterrupted. There's no break in the flow of electricity. There's no change in their billing. You're still calling them if the power goes out. So all of that's still the same. What's different is on the far left side of the picture, that supply part is now in orange because there's a new entity over there. And that's this electricity supply company that Sherborn has signed a contract with. That company is called GridWealth Electric. That's the company that's going to be buying electricity and putting it on the grid that Eversource then delivers to you. Oops, still going backwards. Let's go forward. All right, onward. So now let's talk about the choices in the program. I mentioned earlier that there are new choices. You have 3 new choices for the supply part of your bill. So this slide is about those choices. You'll see on the left 3 choices, and on the right is Eversource's basic service price. So that's the price I've been talking about. That changes every 6 months. That's kind of the default. So if we go all the way on the left, we have Sherborn Standard. So that is what's called the default. The town had to choose one of the 3 options. That was going to be the one that you get if you don't make another choice. That's the one you get automatically when you enroll in the program. So that's Sherborn Standard. And with that, an additional 50% of your electricity will come from renewable energy projects in the New England region. Now, what do I mean by additional? Eversource gives you renewable energy already, and that's because the state law requires all electricity in Massachusetts to include a minimum amount from renewable sources like solar and wind. So from Eversource, you're already getting what that minimum is. With Sherborn Standard, an additional 50% of your electricity is going to come from renewable energy projects, specifically in the New England region. And that's important because by buying that renewable energy from local sources, you're helping to build demand for building more renewable energy in our region. So automatically, you're going to be getting a little bit more of your electricity from renewable sources, but you'll notice your price is cheaper than Eversource's price. So automatically, you get cleaner electricity for a lower price. But you have 2 other choices in the program. They're available by request. You just don't get them automatically. So Sherborn Select is a little bit more expensive, 15.086 cents per kilowatt hour. From that, all of your electricity comes from renewable sources in the New England region, still cheaper than Eversource's price right now. And then Sherborn Basic is the least expensive option in the program. With that option, you're getting the same electricity mix you get from Eversource. So you're not getting any extra renewable energy. You're getting the minimum required by law, but you're getting a Sherborn price for it. So that's the least expensive option in the program at 12.046 cents a kilowatt hour. And I should clarify, these prices are in cents per kilowatt hour. These are not dollars. On your bill, you'll see the decimal is 2 places to the left. When you see the calculation, it's just really hard to look at really big decimals. So when we talk about cents, we move the decimal a little bit, but this is cents per kilowatt hour, and your bill is a calculation of a price by the amount of electricity you use, which is measured in kilowatt hours. So that's why we're talking about those terms. So all three of those prices from Sherborn are fixed until June 2026. So the program's going to launch in June 2024. And the prices are fixed, meaning they won't change until June 2026. So you get 24 months without those prices changing. Compare that to Eversource's price on the far right. That's their current residential price, 17.216. That's in place through July 31st. It's going to change on August 1st. We don't know what it's going to change to. Then it'll change again in 6 months and change again in 6 months and so on. We know Sherborn's prices, as I said, are cheaper than Eversource now. We have a lot of confidence that they're going to continue to be very attractive once we know Eversource's next price. We just don't know what it is yet. All right, so let's take a look at the bill. Where does this show up on your bill? The good news is you're not going to get a new bill or a second bill. This program is integrated into your existing Eversource bill. And there's just going to be a couple things or a few things to take a look at. So on the first page of your bill, which is what we're looking at right now, we see supply and delivery. And I want to just call out that delivery is not impacted by this program. Your delivery charges, unfortunately, are something none of us can control. Eversource negotiates those with the state, and we all must just get what we get. So we can't do anything about the delivery charges, only the supply charge. So that's where we're going to focus. And we're going to see two changes there on your bill. You're going to see your electricity supplier listed as Sherborn PowerChoice Grid Wealth. So it's going to say both of those things. And your supply price is going to change to one of those three prices from Sherborn PowerChoice. Now, on the first page of your bill, you'll see where it says supply, and you have your supply charge there. You'll see the Sherborn PowerChoice Grid Wealth name listed there under that. You'll see on this slide, it says $65.92. You'll see it there. And then also you'll see Grid Wealth's contact information in that big yellow block a little further down where it says your electric supplier is. If you look at your bill right now, you might see Eversource there, or you might see another company there. You would see the Sherborn PowerChoice Grid Wealth there beginning in July. That would be the first time you start to see this on your bill. So that's what you would see on the first page. And then if we go to the second page, this is where the calculation is for that supply charge on your bill. So again, you're going to see Sherborn PowerChoice Grid Wealth, and then in that calculation where it says generation service charge, you're going to see one of those decimals. That's the program price. So you'll see here the decimal's in a different place, but these are the same numbers you saw on the other screen. You'll see the Sherborn standard price. Most of you, if you just accept the default, you'll see one of the other two prices if you make a choice for select or basic. There's one other change some people might see, and that's if you have something called budget billing. Budget billing is when Eversource makes an estimate on what your bill is going to be over a 6-month period, and they charge you the same amount every month based on that estimate, and then they kind of review it in 6 months and true it up and change that calculation. So if you have budget billing and you're paying the exact same amount every month, that will change if you participate in Sherborn PowerChoice. Budget billing would continue to apply to your delivery charge, but it would no longer apply to your supply charge. So that means your delivery charge would continue to be the same every month, but your supply charge would vary monthly based on your use. So that means your total bill will start to vary a little bit every month based on use. If it's important to you to have budget billing on your total bill and to not have any monthly changes in your bill, then you would need to not participate in Sherborn PowerChoice and opt out. But other than these changes on your bill, and for the most part, it's just really the change in your supplier name and in the price, your primary relationship for electricity remains with Eversource exactly as it is now. And it's a nice feature of these programs that they're really invisible to the consumer once it's up and running. So Eversource is still delivering your electricity, as I said a minute ago. You're still calling them if the power goes out. They're still responsible for turning the lights back on. They're still sending your bill. You're still paying them if you have electronic billing set up with Eversource. There's no interruption, no changes you need to make there. And it's the only electric bill you're going to get as a participant in this program. There's no additional bill that's coming from some other company. And then importantly, if you're eligible for any discounts from Eversource, like a low income discount or you get fuel assistance, there's no change to those benefits. You continue to receive those benefits with no change. And it's nice because those benefits can work in complement with this program. You could participate in Sherborn PowerChoice and get a lower price on the supply part of your bill, and then, for example, get the low income discount placed on top of your total bill. So, how do you participate? It's pretty easy because by state law, these programs work with an automatic enrollment model. That's not something that Sherborn could choose. All of the programs like this across Massachusetts have to work with an automatic enrollment model, and it's about half the state now has a program like this. Specifically, if you have Eversource's basic service, meaning you have not signed a private contract with an electricity supplier, then you would be eligible for automatic enrollment in June when the program launches, and you would see the program price and GridWealth listed as your supplier beginning in July. You should have also received a formal communication about this in the U.S. mail recently. That communication would have come with the town seal on it. Now, if you got something in the mail and it's talking about electricity and it uses the word choice and it talks about renewable energy, but you don't see the town seal, it's not from this program. Many electricity suppliers will target communities that are launching programs like this with marketing right about that time those notifications go out in the mail in order to try to create confusion and siphon off a little business. So just be vigilant about that. And remember, if you're eligible for automatic enrollment, you don't have to give any information out. The program already has it. So if you got something in the mail that says choice and says renewable energy and also says give us your account number, it's marketing from a private company. Now, there is this automatic enrollment model, but you're not required to participate. So if you got one of those notifications in the mail and your account is eligible for automatic enrollment, but this doesn't sound like the right program for you, that's okay. You don't have to participate if you don't want to. You can opt out before the program begins and prevent enrollment. There's a deadline on that notice. I believe it's May 6th. So you just want to submit the request by then. But also, if you participate in the program, you retain the right to opt out at any time with no fee or penalty. And that's one of the important consumer protections that's built into this municipal program that makes it different from a lot of those private offers in the marketplace. With many of those private offers, when you sign that contract, you may be committing to be with that supplier for a period of time in order to get the low price. And if you change your mind, maybe they're going to charge you $150 early termination fee. That's never going to be an issue with Sherborn PowerChoice. You can participate for any length of time and leave whenever you like, even if it's after just a month, and there's no fee or penalty. So the door is always open to you. Now, what if you don't have Eversource's basic service? We've been talking a lot about the folks who are eligible for automatic enrollment, but what if that's not you? What if you've signed a private contract with an electricity supplier and you never got a letter in the mail? What then? Well, it just means you're not eligible for automatic enrollment because your contract is honored. You've made a decision, and that's the decision that remains in place. So if you did not get a notice in the mail, it likely means you have a private contract. It may also, I'll add, separately mean you've placed a block. You've asked Eversource to block your account from enrollment. Some people do this when they get frustrated with all the marketing from private companies. So if you've asked Eversource to place a block on your account, that would also prevent you from receiving a notice in the mail. But if you have a private contract or a block, you are welcome to join. It's just not automatic. You just have to take a step to do it. So if you have a private contract and you want to participate, you can call or just go online, have your customer support or have your Eversource bill handy, and we'll take your account information from you. Before you do that, you'll just want to make sure that you check whether you're going to be charged one of those early termination fees from leaving your current contract. If now's not the right time, if you're thinking, this program sounds great, but now's not the time. I want to finish my contract, I have a great price, or I don't want to get charged an early termination fee, no problem. Finish your contract and then enroll in Sherborn PowerChoice when the contract is done. You're still going to get the program price. So there's no problem there. If it turns out you have a block on your account, you just need to call Eversource first and tell them to remove the block and then ask to be enrolled in Sherborn PowerChoice. Now, another question we get a lot is, what if I have solar panels and I'm getting credits on my bill or I'm getting an incentive payment in the mail? Is this program going to interrupt that or break any of that? And the good news is there's no change there. This program is completely unrelated to your solar credits or your solar incentive payments. This program only impacts you when you buy electricity from the grid. So if you have solar panels, you're really only buying from the grid at night when those panels aren't producing. So in that case, you could get a lower Sherborn PowerChoice price, and you would know that the electricity you're buying is a little bit cleaner. But there's no impact at all in how your credits are calculated or your incentive payments are calculated. There's no change. They're still calculated the same way. They just might go a little further because the bill you're putting them against is a little bit lower. So I mentioned already, if you have a low-income discount or fuel assistance, there's no change to those benefits. You still receive them, same as before. And I mentioned with budget billing, if you have budget billing where you're getting the same bill every month, there is a change there. It would no longer apply to your supply charge. And so if having budget billing on your total bill is important, you would want to make sure you opt out of this program. So this is just a screenshot of the homepage of the website, which I show because you can do a lot there. If you're the kind of person who would like some help, you can always call customer support. Our phone number is there. There's also a customer support link you can see in the navigation on the website. You can go there and get our phone number, get our email address. There's also a form there that you can fill out. So if you're the kind of person who wants to talk to someone, we're here for you. But if you're the kind of person who just wants to do things themselves, or maybe you make your decision after work hours or on the weekend, you don't have to wait. Up in the upper right corner, you'll see Enroll, Change Your Option, Opt Out. Those 3 buttons will take you to the form where you just put in your account information and you can take care of things yourself. So I think that is it for me. That's my last slide. So I can stop sharing my screen and would be delighted to answer questions.
I don't see anything from the chat. You're from the Zoom yet.
So, a lot of communities have this kind of programs, right?
Yes, about half the state.
Half the state.
Yep.
What's the happiness index?
UMass Amherst put out a big report and showed the vast majority of people are saving money in these programs. And I'll tell you, when the prices rose around the time of the Ukraine war, there was a tremendous amount of happiness. People were very grateful that they were not subject to those rising utility prices. Also, in our business, we've seen an incredible amount of new interest in these programs because of the volatility in the electricity market. So in general, people are satisfied with these programs as compared to the private offers where you're just always playing this game, trying to outsmart the companies and stay ahead of their highly variable pricing.
So the basic, there are 3 plans that you showed, right? The basic, you say, is the same amount that you would get from Eversource as far as renewables are concerned, right? What is the percentage for that?
Marlene, excuse
Yep, I'll
me,
repeat the question.
Can you repeat?
Yep, so the question is, in the basic option, you get the same amount of renewable energy as you get from Eversource. What is the amount of renewable energy you're getting from Eversource? So right now, this year, 24% of your electricity is required by law to come from renewable energy sources in the New England region. And then there's some other stuff that the electricity supplier has to buy from some other clean sources. But it's really, the focus is the 24% that you're getting from renewable energy sources in New England. You're getting that from Eversource and also from the basic option. And then the other 2 options in the program are layering more from Renewable England on top of that 24%.
So there will be 74% for the current default.
From New England, yep. Yep.
We do have a Zoom question, and I hope you can repeat it because I'm not sure if I'm getting picked up by the microphone. Or can you see the question?
What are the sources of renewable energy that GridWealth Electric uses? So GridWealth Electric is bound by the contract it signs with the town. So GridWealth buys electricity from the grid and matches the requirements of the contract. So they buy the extra renewable energy as determined by the contract. The specific sources of that renewable energy are typically wind. That's what's available for voluntary renewable purchase in New England. There are many different sources of renewable energy that are out there. I'm sure you see solar panels as you drive around. A lot of that solar electricity, solar energy is bought to meet state requirements. So what's available for voluntary purchases for programs like this is most typically wind, but it could include solar, could include a couple other technologies. Yes.
So a question that I've had somebody ask me is that we're now buying electricity not from Eversource, we're buying it from this other company. How do we know that should something happen in nature that we don't run out of power like Texas did when they had this really cold snap back a couple years ago?
So the question is, what happens if GridWealth doesn't deliver all the electricity I think that they promised? Is there going to be a problem? I think that's at the core of it. A lot of people get worried about that. So the good news is the grid's not going to be destabilized if GridWealth does not put the amount of electricity it's committed to on the grid for Sherborn. You're not getting electricity directly from GridWealth. You're getting electricity from the grid. The grid is a commingled pool of electricity from a lot of different sources, and it's managed by our New England grid operator that is tasked specifically with making sure that everybody on that grid has electricity flowing and that the grid has even electricity flow. So if, say, GridWealth fails in its obligation to put enough electricity on the grid, according to the contract, the grid operator will make sure that one of those electricity generation plants that's sitting on standby turns on and generates enough electricity to balance it. And then GridWealth will have penalties, there will be things like that, but there will be no interruption in the electricity flow to anybody in Sherborn PowerChoice if GridWealth fails in its obligation. There would just be penalties for them. If they go out of business, you would either go back to Eversource's basic service pricing, or maybe another electricity supplier would buy the contract and honor GridWealth's pricing. We've seen that happen. But in general, it's very, very seamless for customers. There's never an interruption in your electricity flow.
Great, thank you.
Just one. How easy it is to change from, let's say, default to either 100% or basic?
So the question is, can you change between options? Is it easy? It's really easy. You can do it anytime. There's no limitation, no requirement to participate in any option for any period of time. There's no fee to change. And you can do it, again, by going online and using the online form or just calling us. It takes Eversource about 2 billing cycles before you see a change on your bill. And that's just because of how they do things. Yes.
Just to confirm, so if we're already in Eversource now, we can just do nothing and we get in the program?
So the question is, if you already have Eversource now and do nothing, will you get in the program? If you have Eversource's basic service specifically, so everyone in Sherborn is with Eversource because you have to be, they're your utility. The question is, for the supply part of your bill, do you have Eversource's basic service price there? If you do, you should have received a notice in the mail telling you your account is eligible for automatic enrollment. So if that's the case, then yes, you do nothing. You get automatically enrolled in Sherborn Standard beginning in July, and you see the price, beginning in June, and you see the price on your July bill. If you're not sure about whether or not your account is eligible for automatic enrollment, we can find that out for you. We can tell you. So if there's a question you have, you're welcome to contact us, and we'll look that information up and let you know. And if you are eligible for automatic enrollment, you don't have to do anything. It happens automatically. And if you're not, we can get you enrolled. Yes, ma'am.
I currently have an energy supplier till December. It's 12 something.
Nice.
I think I can cancel it without any penalty if I want to. So I can stay with this till, December if I want to, and then go to this.
Yeah, so the question is, if you have a contract with a great price through December, can you just wait till the end of the contract and join? Yes, you can do that. There's no problem at all. You'll want to submit your enrollment request when you're inside the last billing cycle of that contract. So for example, if your contract ends with your December 20th meter read, then when you pass November 20th, give us a call. Yep.
It's another Zoom question. You see at the bottom.
Where is the wind power that is available as this program statewide caused the construction of renewable energy sources in New England? Oh, well, the wind power is available from all over New England. I've seen it come in from Maine, Vermont, New York, which technically is considered part of this, part of New England, according to how this works. Has it caused the construction of renewable energy sources in New England? Well, so that is the whole point of buying the additional renewable energy. The program itself is not directly investing in a renewable energy project, and most programs don't. There are one or two in the state where they are trying to actually invest directly in building something, but mostly the way these programs work is by purchasing extra renewable energy from the New England region. It's a market-based mechanism for building demand. It's like if you said, wow, I really like pink cars, so I'm going to buy all the pink cars and show car manufacturers that people really want pink cars in New England. And car manufacturers would say, wow, all those New England people keep buying pink cars. We're going to make more. So it's the same kind of thing. So with programs like this, where you're buying more renewable energy from New England, and lots of other programs in the state are too, you're creating that demand and signaling to the market that people here care about where their energy comes from and they want more renewable energy locally. And so in that way, you're stimulating the development of new renewable energy projects in our local grid. But it's a little bit of a long-term game. It's not that next year we'll necessarily have a new project because of Sherborn's program, but it is an effective long-term game, and we are seeing a rise in demand for renewables across the state, specifically because of programs like this.
I think we're looking good.
Great. Marlena, thank you so much, and thank you for coming. I guess that concludes the presentation, but I want to reiterate and direct your attention to the phone number that is on the website and also in the mailers that you got. If you have any questions, Math PowerChoice, Marlena, Paul, and the others on the staff are extremely helpful and accessible. So don't hesitate to call them. Thank you. Good night.
Thanks.